Welcome back to the Motorious Podcast. I realized this morning there's so much news to get caught up on, and I was trying to look for like a place to get caught up on this news, and then I realized like it's us. Like we have missed y'all for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah,
and
three. What? Yeah, thanks to Thanksgiving, it's for everything off.
Thanksgiving, and we kind of got our scheduling weird before that, so we've got a lot to talk about. And let's get started. I'm Elizabeth Puckett here with Steven Sims. Let's go. So Jay Leno, this has been like a big thing that everyone's talking about. A lot has happened. So you all know that like Jay Leno got burned. He was working on a steam car and there's a clogged fuel line. Do you know more about that?
What I heard, and I don't know that it's absolutely confirmed, but some people are acting like it absolutely is what happened. And I think I don't know if it's so I don't want to say like, this is absolutely what happened, but supposedly, yeah, it's a clogged fuel line because they have fuel lines to ignite for pressure for the steam. And the fuel line suddenly came unclogged and mixed with the steam and hit his face and his arm. Now, I don't know for sure if that's what happened, but steam engines are under tremendous pressure and they're notoriously dangerous to work on, which is one of the several reasons why that technology didn't pan out, why ICE engines went out against those and electric cars back in the day. Because those three were all kind of like neck and neck competing in, the aughts before the teens, and then ICE started to pull ahead in the teens. So they're notoriously dangerous to work on. Because some people are like, oh, he just wasn't being careful. Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, I doubt he wasn't just being careful. I didn't realize how little I knew about steam engines until this happened. And I'm like, what fuel line? Huh? And I had to go look.
I'm not an expert on them, but I know that they're very dangerous to work on because of the high pressure.
Then he went to a hyperbaric chamber for a couple days, and it seems like he made a pretty quick comeback. I mean, in the time that we recorded last podcast to now, all this has happened and he's recovered. And he was recently at a stand-up comedy show and hit a cop car with his Tesla.
Yeah, when he was pulling up to the show. And I don't think YouTube probably won't like if we play the video for it.
Yeah, is it TMZ?
We have, and no, it's not TMZ, it's some other celebrity type news, Lion's Share news. I've never heard of it before, but anyway, and there's actually a couple of videos, but that Lion's Share one is the best one. Well, it looks like a paparazzi video, which it gives a really good angle of what happened, although you can't see everything, but it's concerning. Different people have different theories. I don't know what the deal is, why he hit the cop car. It looks like it was a tire to tire collision. Man, it was a really loud tire to tire. I wonder if there wasn't some wheel involved in the rubbing, but who knows? It's dark and the video is kind of shaky, and so you can't really tell for sure.
Did Tesla not like self-park? Or am I thinking
they do, but I don't know if they do the parallel parking. Because when I've used the auto system on Teslas, it was just on the interstate, and that actually worked better than I thought it would. But it was on a really clearly marked section of interstate I used it on. So I've heard that if the lines are worn down, or if it's like snowed or something like that, then the system doesn't really work very well at all. But I believe they have a parking feature, because they have the summons feature as well. Yeah. You can call the car from a parking spot over to where you are. So it's kind of like a valet service, but it's the car. But obviously he wasn't using that, and he tried to pull a nose first into that spot as a parallel spot in front of the club on the street, which, I mean, it was a large spot, but he got obviously way too close to the cop car, which he didn't need to get that close because the spot was really big. And then he decided to back into the spot, which is, the traditional way of getting into a parallel spot, especially if it's tight. And he was like going at a really sharp angle and almost hit the curb, and people had to yell at him and tell him, oh, stop, and go back and correct that. And so I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if it's age, or some people have theorized he's on some pain meds, or I have no idea, but it's concerning. I hope he's okay. He seemed okay when he got out of the car. He was joking and kind of like his usual self. The jokes he told were actually pretty funny when he told the paparazzi. So who knows? Who knows what's going on with him? But I wonder if he's all the way recovered, which, yeah, I mean, considering what he's been through, I wouldn't be surprised if someone weren't.
Well, at least he's having a better day than this charger caused all these people on Thanksgiving Day. I hope your Thanksgiving Day was better than this.
Yeah.
So they were street racing and caused a whole big mess. And looks like there's a Monte Carlo.
The Monte Carlo saved a crowd of people.
Yeah. So let's see. The Charger hit a parking lot where volunteers were feeding homeless people. Like, can you make this up? Like on Thanksgiving Day. On
Thanksgiving Day, and the Monte Carlo, the owner of the Monte Carlo said that's what stopped the car from hitting the group of people in the parking lot.
Man, I'm out here like, okay, as a Charger representative. I put my buggy up, help people with their groceries. I always use my turn signal. I, yield to the right of way if I'm trying to be polite to my neighbors, trying to make this like good, wholesome image. Got this guy on Thanksgiving Day trying to put down volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not all Charger owners are bad and, irresponsible, but geez, there's enough of them that reputation, it's become like the new Mustang,
Yeah.
You remember the Mustangs were the ones doing this kind of stuff all the time, and now
I saw that in your article. I was like, oh, okay, he wants to be like that. Call us Charger owners Mustang.
Well, sorry, but
Mustangs, well, I was about to say Mustangs hit crowds, but this one came pretty close.
Yeah, it did. It wanted to be a Mustang. It's unreal. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying that Chargers are bad. It's just for some reason there's enough Charger drivers where this is happening pretty often.
Oh man, I like the Charger jokes I could make, but I won't. Like how the credit score of the owners on the side of the car.
Ooh, 392. Ooh.
I just got a weird cat face. That's
wait, they're expensive though. How are they financing these if that's true? I mean, wow.
Because like, a lot of like buy here, pay here places like get all into the Chargers. A new new meme video going around lately is this like dealership guy like breakdancing, and it's like me sending out a Dodge Charger with 280,000 miles on it to a owner that has a 400 credit score, knowing it'll be back in 2 weeks or whatever.
It's catch and release. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Hey, have you seen that meme going around where it shows the finance paperwork for a newer BMW M3, and they black out the personal details on it?
Does it have like a lot of subscriptions?
It's like 24% interest rate or something like that, and monthly payment is like $2,100.
What, on like a $50,000 car?
What's that?
What, on like a $50,000 car?
No. The car's like 100,000, 80,000. I don't remember exactly how much, but it's not cheap to begin with. But then you have like a 24% interest rate, and the payments are financing
it for the rest of his life, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you gotta have the car, and no matter the cost, apparently. Some people are that way. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I wish like my first Scat Pack that I bought, I wish I bought it outright. Like, I'm kicking myself for not doing that. And then I've got people over here that are financing their cars at these crazy interest rates, and they're like, whatever.
And then people are like, why is it that car prices keep going up? Well, part of it is because people are the banks are giving longer and longer loans, and people are going for it, and so they're paying more for the car because they just look at the monthly payment. But then that one guy, his monthly payment even is ridiculous. I mean, what are people doing? Cars wouldn't be so expensive if people just said, I'm not buying a car that is that much money. Yeah, I'm not gonna sell my firstborn child to buy a car.
Yeah, I mean, these people are gonna end up owning these cars like they're going to be paying on them when the cars broke down, is what I always think about.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to have the car. Like,
There,
your best bet is getting in a car accident before it breaks down.
and having total loss insurance, which is not cheap usually. But yeah, because like 96-month loans have become pretty standard at a lot of places, which is insane. 96 months.
How many years is that?
That's 7 years.
7, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you could have a baby that is out of toddlerhood.
Or that's 8 years. Sorry, what am I saying? It's 8 years. 8 years. Yeah, you could have a kid right when you buy that car, and that kid is in grade school, well into grade school by the time you pay it off.
That's weird. That's so weird to think about.
Plus, a lot of times, because of amortization of the loan, which, sorry, I don't want to get like into finance class here, but you're paying for that car like 2, maybe 3 times over. Literally, you're paying the full purchase price of the car 2 to 3 times.
Oh yeah,
that's insane. You're an idiot if you're doing that.
Sorry, but how interest works and how like it's occurred like daily, and like the longer you own something or you pay on something, the more you owe.
The more you pay in interest. Yep.
That's why these really, because I thought it was like some set rate, like when you bought, and I'm talking like when I was 19. I'm not talking about like as a grown adult.
Yeah, it's not now. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of grown adults who don't understand this. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, mom. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, all I have to say is look up Dave Ramsey, read his book, listen to his podcast. God, get your finances in order, people.
So speaking of buying new cars, this situation is ridiculous. It makes me so mad. Uber wants to make all of their cars electric by, I think, like 2030. It's pretty soon.
Is it 2030?
Yeah. And I looked it up. There are 3.5 million Uber drivers. I don't know if that's in the United States or ever, or all overall rather, but that's 3.5 million people. Like, if they don't already have a car, an electric car, they need to go get one, which is like $50,000 is kind of like the entry car when it's electric. And then it needs to be reliable, have a good range. You need to have a way to charge it. I mean, these people drive all over the
not only that, but if all the Uber vehicles are electric, their availability is going to be lower because they're going to have to pull over and charge fairly often. And so when they're charging, they're not going to be available to pick somebody up, and the charging, how long is that going to take?
Right.
And so yeah, well, I'm not big on Uber anyway, but wow.
I use it a lot. Not Uber, but DoorDash. No, I'm not going to say the service I use. I'm not going to plug them. If any service wants to get in touch with me, I'm currently having my meals delivered weekly. Anyway, but I mean, these are people who probably don't have a lot of money. Like, they're probably not doing Uber because they just want to kill some time. Like, I don't know, maybe some like mom drops her kid off at school and goes and does Uber deliveries while the kids are in school and she's just bored. I don't know. Kind of trying to come up with a scenario here.
Maybe. Or
he has the money to spend, because I just don't think they do.
I don't know, but it seems like a really interesting, but I can see what they're going for, which is they're trying to look all like they're on the forefront of progress, and you know, they're pushing for saving the planet. But you know,
I think that a lot of people have, a lot of these big companies have stock in electric vehicles, and like same thing with the big G government having, you know, all these initiatives. They just have like some sort of financial gain here. Like,
definitely
3.5. Okay, if I was going to tell 3.5 million people to go buy an electric car, I would be a moron not to own a whole bunch of stock in electric cars. So reverse engineer that. Is that like what's happening?
Could be.
Not saying it's corruption, but I'm saying it's corruption.
Yeah, it's definitely iffy.
Yeah, I mean, buy them then. Like, have a Uber fleet and have, you know, send them out like Amazon does with their trucks. I mean, they have like their Amazon fleet now.
Wasn't that what Uber was talking about doing a while ago? How they're going to have these robot taxis, and they're just going to pick people up and there'd be nobody in the car.
Okay, that's a completely different.
And yeah, which now nobody's talking about that anymore because AVs are even harder to implement.
Yeah,
and
they use a little hair-brained.
They use a ton of energy. Well, they have the AVs around here in Phoenix.
Really?
They have for years. Oh yeah, you see them out. They have the Jaguar I-Paces, and then they have the Chrysler Pacificas with a bunch of really expensive instruments all around. Like the instruments cost more than the vehicle by far. Huge LiDAR system and so on. I see them all the time. But they have to have somebody sitting behind the wheel to take over at any time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which how would you like to have that job?
Oh my god, just babysit this car. So
boring. I don't know how often they have to take over because it's trade secret over, but you can order these taxis to pick you up and take you somewhere else in the metro.
Okay, so they're self-driving, but there's like a dude sitting in the seat.
Well, they're not fully self-driving because fully self-driving doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, really, quite frankly, right now, fully self-driving vehicles is science fiction. There is no level 5 autonomous drive systems. I know there are people who don't believe that because there's news stories that hint that that's around the corner. It really does exist. No, it does not exist. Automakers keep trying to figure it out. Tech companies keep trying to figure it out. Ford's little company that they're supporting that was trying to figure it out, and supposedly they were on the forefront of it, went belly up a few weeks ago. Gone. So AV actually, shocker, is really hard to do, and it's really expensive. Plus those cars use a ton of energy. So, if you're concerned about where all the electricity is going to come for electric cars, well, wait until electric cars are driving themselves and they use, 5 or 8 times as much electricity to go the same distance.
Yeah, I had a boss one time that I pushed back on him about the self-driving car, like completely self-driving car situation.
Yeah.
And so he got into a corner about it, and he got on team rail system, where you basically like hook your car up to a rail and go. And I'm like,
rail? That's a train.
Rail that's already a thing, though.
No, I actually think that Toyota's approach to this is the best, because Toyota's been working on where it's an autonomous, not an autonomous drive, but it's more like autopilot, like on airplanes, where it enhances the driver's actions and alerts the driver, but it does not take over. Because in airplanes, the autopilot, despite what people think, it doesn't take over the pilot. It enhances what the pilot's doing. It enhances their inputs and such. It doesn't completely take over and just fly the plane.
I heard about a pilot dying mid-flight. I think it might have been in Atlanta, like yesterday.
Wow, this is really
I just
it's like a driver dying. Yeah, well, the system.
We're gonna turn around and go back to Hartsfield Jackson Airport. The pilot's dead. So
well, that's why they have a co-pilot, right?
Yeah, and autopilot, and I guess maybe an air marshal.
I don't know. Well, that was completely somewhat related to what I was saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Uber, they're going to go all electric. We'll see if they actually really do this or not. Because I wonder if, 2028 rolls around and they just quietly stop talking about it.
Oh, never mind.
Well, that's what the AV stuff, because I remember all these companies, we're going to have fully self-driving cars by 2020. That was like the popular date that they all settled on, including Tesla. And well, Tesla's rolled it back a few times. And other companies have as well. I'm not just trying to trash Tesla. Argo AI or whatever it was, that was one of those owned by Ford. They're gone, but they supposedly were going to have it 2018, 2020. I don't remember the exact year. Obviously, it didn't happen. And that's what they do. Oh yeah, we'll have this implemented by this year, and then they just quietly roll it back. Oh, did we say 2020? We meant 2024.
Automakers are so full of it. I mean, they do that. Like, this is one of my biggest irritations with them is they try to create this buzz, but the technology doesn't exist. And this is why I'm like the biggest skeptic about this whole electric car thing.
As you should be. If you don't recall, back around the year 2000, they were saying the same things about electric cars. The talk was the same. It's like everyone's forgotten that. 20 years ago, they're talking about electric cars are going to suddenly take over the market, and They were showing all these electric concepts. Chrysler was one of the big ones, by the way, on this push. But Ford was in there too. GM did some as well. I mean, they actually had an electric car that was to market that then they killed, quote unquote. Yeah, but now I don't know. I say let the market decide, let people decide if they want to drive electric cars and all the liabilities of them. And if they don't want to,
give us the
then they don't.
technology.
Yeah.
Like the technology is ready to roll, but don't do 2030 because that's like where everyone's at now. It's 2030.
And mandating it,
yeah,
forcing you to get it, and no. If people want it, they can get
first, then I don't know. If you want to do some mandates, I guess I'll move to a different state. I don't know.
I'm still not. I'm not on board with the mandates.
No.
People decide if they're really that good, people will buy them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I've driven several electric cars, so I'm not like, oh, I just hate them. I mean, they're interesting. Yeah. I kind of feel like I'm in a go-kart in a way, but not. I don't know. It's an interesting sensation.
Nannying. Like, I don't like all the nannying with cars. And like, I made an Instagram post if you want to go see it. It's _ Elizabeth.
About
I
like that one.
Wanted to drive I have a 1998 Firebird Formula, heads cam car, beautiful car, manual too, like on top of everything else, it's manual. And I just get in it and like I just wanted to drive it. Yeah. And it didn't care. I could die. And it's like, go for it, lady. Like, you don't want to put your seatbelt on, you want to mow somebody down, like do what you gotta do. Like, but my charger will sit there, bing, 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 and then chime, bing, bing.
Oh, if you have a new GM, you can't even put it in drive if you don't have your seatbelt on.
Oh my gosh.
Like if you're moving it in the driveway 5 feet, you have to put your seatbelt on.
So irritating. And I'm not advocating for not wearing your seatbelt or mowing people over or whatever. Nope. But when you're like a responsible driver and you're just trying to drive, it's annoying.
Yep.
But on that note, there are some people I wish I could stick into a self-driving car. Guy, C8 during a street takeover, he doesn't hit like another car. He hits a curb, and what a donkey!
And he really knocked it out of alignment, and that rear wheel is pointing not straight.
And can we watch this Instagram video? Do you think we're gonna get pulled?
I think probably okay to watch it. Yeah, boom, right into the curb like that. And then like he has to drive off because he probably doesn't want to get made fun of, but everybody chases after and make fun of him anyway. Which is what happens in these street takeovers. I swear people go there for the crashes and to mock people who crash.
Fair enough.
Because they're such, good buddies.
Yeah. Man,
see it all the time.
These kids, teenagers, young adults, whoever that are doing these, they're so savage. Like they just act like they hate each other.
Yep. Oh yeah.
They want to see each other get like run over, get their car stolen.
What kind of person shuts down an intersection in a city to do tricks in their car? I mean, do you think they care about other people?
No. I'm not saying they deserve to be heckled to death, but who are these icky people who just
desperate for friends? I don't. They want. Well, I think the bystanders who are filming, they want good content for their social channels, and they're trying to monetize them and make money. Which I don't think they should be able to make money off of illegal activities. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's not like people who like break down police videos and such. I mean, these are people who are attending an illegal event and they shouldn't be able to monetize that. But I'm not running these social platforms, so there you go.
Yeah, we're also sharing it, and that makes me feel kind of bad.
But we're trying to shine a light on this,
right? Yeah.
But yeah, I know some people have said, "Well, you shouldn't cover it at all." I'm like, yeah, but the best way to sanitize something is shine a light on it. So we're going to
heavily make fun of these people and make sure that they know from an actual car person's perspective, from a perspective of somebody who races cars at the track, who had one of the fastest cars in the class in the nation at one point. You're stupid and you're not a real car person.
Nope. Yeah, they think they're car enthusiasts and they're not. I've had some of them actually reach out to me and try to like threaten me,
Oh yeah, I've got
chew me
nothing.
out, etc. I don't care. You know, the fact that they don't like our coverage of their little street takeovers, it's a badge of honor. I'm
Oh
glad
yeah,
they don't like it.
of course. And every time that they've reached out to me and tried it, I've told them exactly where they can find me at Road Atlanta. We will go to an event and we will line up and we can race.
They only know
How
how
we
to
tell
do
them.
donuts.
Yeah, they would never. Nobody has ever taken me up on that.
Nope.
To go, well, sell this on the track, because that's what we used to do too. Like when I was young at one point, and I had a fast car, much faster than this, and we would take it to the track. We would settle it there. We had
Yep.
plenty of disputes, and we go to the track.
But that takes actual skill, and
Yeah,
that's the thing is
imagine.
they just want quick social media likes and clicks. And
I was gonna say it also takes money, but at the same time, they're burning their tires off. Like
well, some of these cars at street takeovers are stolen, and that's why they trash them.
Oh,
They don't care about the cars, they stole
yeah.
it. Not
Okay.
all of them. I'm not saying this one was, I don't know, but a lot of them are stolen.
Yep. Again, they're not car people.
No.
So, speaking of not car people, Lucid. I remember.
Hey, the factory's just not that far from Phoenix.
Yeah, the battery on wheels. I remember Tesla had a similar. No, it was the dealerships had a problem with Tesla, so it was like the opposite was happening.
Well, no, this
I
is
think that was in
similar.
Texas too.
This is similar. Actually, what Lucid is doing, Tesla already did a few years ago, and they all lost. But Lucid thinks that they can sue Texas for their dealership laws and win. Why? I don't know. Why they think they can succeed where Tesla did not. And Tesla now is based there, and they still can't get around the dealership laws there.
Right.
But Lucid thinks they can. I don't understand it. Why they think that they can do what Tesla couldn't.
Okay, so they are literally doing the same thing that Tesla did.
That's my understanding.
That was a while ago too. And
yeah, it was a few years ago.
I don't. Okay, Lucid. I
don't know. I mean, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not an attorney. I haven't looked at their lawsuit. I can't comment on that. I just know that Tesla also sued Texas for their dealership laws, and they lost.
Yeah.
So why does Lucid think they're going to win?
Do you know the resolution, like with Tesla selling in Texas?
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
They have a factory in Texas.
Yeah, but you can't.
They don't
you
sell
can't
in Texas?
buy. Wait, do they have a factory in Texas? Because there's the Fremont factory in California, and they have the Gigafactory in Nevada. Their headquarters are in Austin, but I don't think they have a factory there.
They don't have a factory? I thought they did.
I don't think so.
Maybe
they're building one, and I just don't remember. I don't know. They have a factory in China. They have one in Germany. I've heard that they want to put one in Mexico, possibly. I don't know. I don't think they have a factory in Texas. I'd have to double check on that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they don't. If you are in Texas, you have to go around it and buy it in a neighboring state, which
that sounds like a pain.
Well, that's what you have to do in quite a few other states. You can't buy a Tesla because it's a direct purchase, and they don't allow you to directly purchase vehicles from automakers.
I bought a car from Texas. I wonder if that would be like kind of the same situation if you're buying a Tesla and you live in Texas, because all the the title and all that was processed through the Texas DMV and then sent to my DMV. I wonder if that's the same thing.
Probably.
I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah, I've never bought
a Tesla, because I mean there's a lot
I've never bought a Tesla. Are you in the market?
No.
Model 3?
Not.
Come on.
Mr. Puckett asked me about that the other day because I kept talking about Teslas. They're just interesting to me. Like the whole thing is interesting.
Have you ever driven one?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good. Like
yeah, they're interesting. I drove the
business model is interesting, but you can miss.
I drove the P100D a few years ago, back when that was the fastest Tesla. Yeah, and it was legitimately fast. I mean, if you really drop the hammer on that thing, it moved, but it was weird because it almost felt like an oversized go-kart in a way too, and not in the good sort of way.
And again, going back to that nannying thing, that's the big thing that gets me is just
Yeah, they have lots of nannies. Oh, and also it was rainy and cold, and it took forever to figure out how to turn the defroster on. It was like
and the heat
unnecessarily
probably
difficult.
drained the batteries so
It's-
quick.
yeah, that it did start to drain the battery, but well, especially the hard pulls that I was doing, that really drained the battery on it. Unbelievable. But instead of just having like a physical button that you just push for the defroster, like on every other car in existence, you had to go through like it was like 4 or 5 layers on the touch screen to get to it.
Ugh.
Why? You're driving, the windows start to fog up, and you have to sit there and fiddle with the touch screen a bunch. Well, anyway, we're totally off the subject of the dealership laws in Texas.
I know.
But yeah,
I was thinking about how I wouldn't buy a Lucid either. Why did EVs not like? Why are they so far away from window tint? I never see any of them that have window tint on them.
Oh, I see them here with tint.
Really?
But, well, this is Phoenix. This is
Yeah.
the land of the baking sun. So people tint their Teslas here.
Every time I see a Tesla, I can just see right into their car and see what they're doing. Maybe that's what they want, but that makes me so nervous. I hate that so much.
They have the Tesla to be seen. They got to show everybody else that they have a Tesla. I don't know. But here I see a lot of heavily tinted Teslas.
And they're a dime a dozen here. I probably see them as much as any other car around here. So
really,
yeah,
no. I don't see too many around here.
Maybe because the air conditioner draw like.
Well, the EVs in really hot temperatures,
they melt.
The range drops.
Paint falls off.
The paint falls off when a Dodge hits it.
Yeah.
Just skins it like a snake.
Oh my gosh, that article made people so mad.
It did. Yeah, if you don't
do the Tesla.
Yeah, it was a Dodge Challenger hits Tesla and wins, and people were so furious about that. It was hilarious.
Sometimes we do this stuff because it's so easy. Like, I'm not saying that we're trolling. Most of the time we're not.
But we are joking around, and some
we're
people
not
just can't
morons.
take a joke.
Like, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we know that some people just can't take a joke, and unfortunately, there's a large.
So we make jokes for those people.
Yep. Well, yeah.
Speaking of a joke. Okay. So Denise Richards, she was in a truck, a Shelby Raptor F-150. This picture is terrible.
And her husband was driving it. It's her vehicle.
Yeah. So she got into a road rager. Oh, cool. The rest of the story's not going to load.
Maybe you should reload the page.
Yeah. We'll reload it and talk about that. So she got into a road rager on like the way to, there we go. The way to some film and
a studio. Yeah.
The very, 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 very far end, if you're listening, of the bed got shot. And apparently the L fell off of the Shelby.
We don't know if it fell off when it was shot or if it fell off a while ago and they just never did anything about it.
So ghetto, so low rent. His probably has a lot of money, and the car didn't look bad either. So I'm wondering, what happened to that?
Does she have that much money now? Like, what was the last movie that Denise Richards was in? Some like straight to streaming C movie.
I don't know. She had a reality show.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was married to Charlie Sheen.
She was?
Yeah.
I don't follow celebrity
facts on this podcast episode.
I don't follow celebrity news. I don't know.
In Wild Things.
Yeah, I remember that movie when it came out.
That's all I got.
Being a kid, it was very,
traumatic.
Don't you ever watch that movie? I'll skin you alive. Like a Tesla.
And they eat Phoenix. Which hinted. Yeah, so
wasn't she like in some movie where she played a scientist? Because I always have like the hot women scientists thing in these sci-fi movies, at least back in the day. And you're like, yeah. Have you seen women in the STEM field? I mean, there are some attractive women, but for the most part, they don't have their makeup and their hair done to the nines and so on. But yep, she's like the genius who can save the planet from the alien invasion because she developed an algorithm or something or other.
Oh, she's on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Is she?
I think so.
I proudly declare I've never watched a Real Housewives of anything show, episode, clip, anything, and I don't plan to ever. It sounds like the dumbest waste of time.
Well, I'm a woman, and in case anybody was wondering about that, I do watch some of
Oh
these.
boy.
Now, the really obscure ones where it's like Real Housewife of Potomac, I'm like, what? No. Like,
How many of these shows do they have anyway? And why was she on it? Like, is she that desperate for money or relevance? She looks fantastic, by the way. Now,
maybe we know why the L fell off.
maybe we know why else she needed money to take another L.
Yeah.
I mean,
take that L.
Take that L. Yeah. And so TMZ was talking about how it was like a life-threatening situation. They shot the back of the bed.
So dramatic.
And some people go, well, it was life-threatening. Anytime a gun's discharged, like, have you ever been to a firing range? No.
Anytime you're in a car, you're in a life-threatening situation. I'd like not to be that person, to be like, oh, if you could have a plane fall on you if you cross the road. But yeah, I mean, life.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen Final Destination? Come on.
Have you ever seen Final Destination 3?
Yeah, unfortunately. Those movies get worse with every sequel.
Ugh.
Don't ask why I watched them. I question it myself.
I think it's worse than Real Housewives, I would debate.
Oh, well, I'm a horror movie junkie. And so, you know, and oh man, but the amount of bad horror movies I watched.
Well,
some are so bad that they're funny, but well, anyway.
Transition to this after talking about that, but so this is some Final Destination stuff right here. Look how engulfed in flames this poor Mustang is, and there was a man with his son,
his teenage son, and they both died.
So, and that's from a Camry. This driver was intoxicated, and he slammed his Camry into the back of a Mustang. This is the scariest scenario to me. Is just like having somebody hit you from behind, and that's rearing collisions.
Yep, just sitting at a red light, you know, following the law, and somebody just plows into the back end.
There's nothing you can do. Just nothing you can do.
No.
That scenario is so terrifying, and I feel like we talk about it a lot because a lot of people die.
Yeah, they do.
They just get like plowed into while they're sitting there.
Yeah, that's scary.
I really killed the mood tonight.
Woo! Yeah, you're in a great mood.
Sorry.
It's Final Destination. No, I mean, yeah, it's a sad scenario, and it sounds like a lot of people really love this guy and his son, and you know, and this other guy just not being responsible, just plowed right into him and killed him, and there's no bringing back.
Drunk guy got out and was
that's how it always works, isn't it? This the person who's intoxicated and causes the crash walks away.
It's horrible.
It is.
Well,
yeah, this is why I'm like, yeah, if you're drinking, consuming anything, just don't drive. Oh, but you know, we're dealing with irresponsible people, so I know that's a big ask, apparently.
I know, they don't care. They really don't. Like,
no. That's frustrating.
So I'm gonna go call my people home and go, like, we're gonna go sit in the corner and try to avoid everybody, because
that'll work.
How do you avoid that? How do you avoid that? I mean, when I sit in a red light,
you gotta live your life.
I look for an out and I watch the people behind me make sure that they stop. Because John was in a real bad accident on an interstate where he was stopped and somebody hit him going 75 miles an hour plus, is what they said. And he was in his truck. It pushed his truck into the Thunderbird in front of him. So the guy in the Thunderbird and the guy behind him died because this guy wasn't paying any attention. I'm gonna have a seatbelt on, by the way. Speaking of nanny,
boy,
have a seatbelt on. 2500. This will be the best plug for 2500 Silverado that you're ever gonna hear. All that, like, he had to have some front end work, and this was back in the day when they actually repaired cars instead of just totaling them out right away. There's a whole truck bed and like part of the frame and all this, and then like the front bumper covers and the lights. They replaced so much on it, and they just gave it back. Like, here you go. Here's your murdering truck. but all because some guy on the interstate didn't look up. And imagine if he was in
Oh,
a Mustang. I mean, there'd be nothing left.
nope. There, yeah. Well, I like trucks, and that's partly why. And I know some people, they, get lots of attitude about anyone who drives a truck or a big vehicle. I'm like, well,
Yeah. Well,
there are advantages to them.
hey, speaking of Teslas, we found one.
Oh, well, it's California. It was in LA, so shocker, they're everywhere there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, moving from one bad news to
We're gonna move on.
another bad.
Let's move on. I shouldn't have included that. It's the week after Thanksgiving. What am I doing to people? Digesting.
Yeah.
We need time. So here's something to get mad about. That's not people being jerks and killing other people. Europe wants to once again, and this is again, it's like once again, increase their emission standards.
Because it keeps happening. I mean, they just increased them not that long ago. But yeah, the European Commission submitted a proposal to the EU to increase it because they've got to meet the European Green Deal zero pollution goal. So they've got to, keep inching closer to that, which a lot of people don't realize that the Green Deal, like the Green New Deal here in the US, has essentially been implemented, essentially the same plan in Europe. And people are shocked that energy prices are climbing and they're having blackouts and there's all these problems. Gee, I wonder if this is a good idea, but they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be pushed here as well. I mean, we're certainly on the same pathway. We're a little bit behind, but
you noted in your article that critics are saying that this is like a measure to ban ICE cars, and I think that's obvious. Our internal combustion.
Well, they've already said they're going to ban them, but they're just trying to make them so restrictive and so expensive that they're corralling people into EVs quicker.
I mean, I think that's what's going to happen here. Honestly, I think there's going to continue to be a gas crunch. Now that the midterms are pretty much over, pending a runoff, we're going to go back into high gas prices.
Oh yeah, sadly.
I think we're going to go back down this road for the next 2 years of high gas prices. I fully expect to see $5 gas.
Oh yeah.
I think there's some places in Atlanta that had it.
So like $7 a gallon gas in California, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. Weren't they up to almost 9 at some point?
Yeah, in some areas. Oh, by the way, that European Commission proposal, it also has new emissions limits for brakes, like brake pads and tires.
Oh.
See, because this is the big secret is it's never enough. Okay. Yeah. You can get rid of internal combustion engine vehicles and they will then complain about the emissions from the tires and from the brake pads, which you have on EVs. So anyone who says that an EV is a zero emission vehicle, they will find emissions. I mean, next they're going to be taxing you on the oxidization of the plastic on the dashboard in your car because that's creating pollution. It's never ending. So you think if you comply with everything, that's going to be the end? No, it's not going to be the end. They're always going to want more and more and more. Where does this end?
I mean, it doesn't, because
well, not only that, but you're plugging your car into the grid, and where does electricity in the grid come from? In a lot of areas, it comes from coal and natural gas, which is cleaner, emissions wise than coal is. But still, that's a fossil fuel. So you're driving on fossil fuels. You can sit there and lie to yourself and say you're not, but you are. We have nuclear power here, but we also have coal.
Yeah. I fully expect for the cost of electricity and to maybe like the taxes on electricity to become
and natural gas.
When they phase out enough gasoline cars, they're going to start in on taxing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're already talking about taxing per mile to make up for the EV costs. It's like,
because they the gas tax, which supposedly is to maintain roads, which by the way is dipped into for all sorts of other things constantly. I know some people, well, it maintains the roads. Well, yeah, in theory it does, but if you pay attention, that money goes to all sorts of other stuff constantly in different states. So yeah, it's all sorts of messed up. So anyway, I think we're not too far behind Europe on this one. So get ready for
it's always like
emissions.
Europe, California, the rest of the country.
The rest of the US.
That's how it works. So, all right, young people, listen up. Your car theft magnets, and it's not because of the reason you think. It's not because you're stupid. I don't think you're stupid. It's because you have old cars that are easy to break into. So
yeah, they're easy to steal.
So Gen Z is getting their cars stolen more. And, it's not because they're, these dumb, lazy kids. It's because they have older cars.
Yep, and they're so much easier to steal than the newer cars.
Their parents probably make them park their old hoopties outside too and don't let them in the garage.
So they're easy to steal because in the middle of the night, it's not in the garage. Yeah. But no, aren't we supposed to always say that the new generation is horrible? I'm old enough to remember back when Gen X was completely lazy, irresponsible, horrible, would never grow up, would never do anything worth anything, and then moved to millennials, and now it's Gen Z. It's the same story.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I mean, some kids are that way.
I will say that,
but yeah.
My son and his friends, the Gen Zers that I know, the 18-year-olds, are not maybe as motivated as I was at 18.
There's always that. But I know some Gen Zers who really have their head on straight and they're hard workers and they're going to go somewhere in life. It just depends.
We'll see. But
yeah.
Look into some car theft devices. I see it's sort of like a sad article because I can't blame you for this one. It's just the circumstance that you're in. So the alternative here, this is what I tell my son: get good insurance. So if you do have your car stolen, you're not out of luck. And
a lot of times they pay a ton in insurance because young drivers crash more.
Yeah.
So then they try to skimp on insurance coverage, and that makes the problem worse.
Yeah, and then they crash.
And then they crash, or the car gets stolen and and they get hardly anything for it.
Yeah, they don't. I know, but I was that way too when I was 18. I'm like, my car's paid off. Why do I need to get?
Yeah, cut off everything but what I legally have to carry.
Yeah,
because I'm going to save some money. I saved $18 this month, and then my car got stolen.
Somehow never gotten to any issues with that, but looking at my son doing the same thing now. You got to decide you ripped off in a car wash. I'm like, if you had full coverage insurance,
it would be covered.
It would be covered.
Yeah, I don't like car washes for that reason because they damage cars.
Yeah, and this is the same car wash that gouged the wheel wells on John's Ram.
I do not like those.
Bad.
When I lived in Utah, they had the car washes where you can drive into a bay and you get out and they have the implements and you can wash your own car. Here in Phoenix, I never see those. They may be around, but I don't see them anywhere.
Yeah, we have one down the road, but it just, I have a house, so I have a driveway.
Yeah. But that was great for when it's in the winter time and you're driving on the road salt. And you're not going to wash your car in your driveway when it's 28 degrees outside. So it was great to wash the salt off the chassis after a storm.
Yeah.
But and maybe that's why they exist there. It snows.
That's not a thing. I don't know what snow is.
Here it's all the drive through, and you have all the big rollers and crap that's going to rip off your antenna and crash your car. And I'm not a fan. Yeah,
I took the Firebird. And I was older to know better, or old enough to know better, but it was right after we'd lowered it. And I took it to one of those car washes, and the rail where you get on and the tire just ripped all the way down my beautiful newly painted bumper. And there's this huge white, it pulled the paint all the way off of it on the bottom. So
it skinned it.
It did skin it.
Wait, was it like a Tesla?
Skinned it like a Tesla.
It's like the Tesla paint.
Oh, speaking of, like, so it's not just Tesla. I have to get after Dodge here for a second. I did take the Scat Pack through and one of those car washes, and it blew off some of the paint. Like there was
What?
like chips of paint gone after we went through the car
Oh,
wash.
boy.
So it's not just Tesla. It's quality has gone downhill.
Well, I think a lot of automakers have been cutting corners while
Yeah.
raising prices. Yeah, people need to wise up and be like, I'm not paying this much for a
Yeah.
car that's of poor quality.
Yeah. That's why we kind of tend to be lifers with cars, because every time we go to look at one, we're like, this is worse than what we have. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Worse and more expensive.
I
This sucks.
increasingly feel like newer cars are like these little like toy, plastic toy vehicles.
Yeah.
Man, I must be getting old.
I don't know. There's not much on the market that excites me.
Nope.
Like if it is, let's take the performance market out of this, because I'm gonna piss off somebody by saying which new brands I like and which I don't. But just in terms of a non-performance vehicle, I'm not really excited about much. And
I feel the
that's always
same.
been the case. Cars have gotten lame. I'm just gonna say it.
I feel the same way. Well, yeah, they become smartphones on wheels.
Yeah, and it seems like they're
Yeah.
not like they have no soul. They're just not as interesting. I remember,
Yeah.
even when my mom would get a new car, it'd be some dorky mom car because she's not a car person, oddly enough. Even though my dad is, I don't know.
But it
But
had a personality.
yeah, it's like, oh, this is cool, like cool new car. Now it's like, oh, this is plastic and gonna fall apart, and I hate it. So
I feel the same way.
let's get into our inventory picks of the week because they're cool cars. You picked, speaking of trucks,
Yep.
will probably hold up in a collision.
Classic, and the paint's not going to just fall off in a car wash.
1976 Ford F-250. I got a camper bed with a rack on it, so I guess you can camp out while you're doing garage doors.
Throw a canoe on there or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really big on camper shells, I'll be honest. I understand their usefulness and so on, but I still call them the grandpa shells or whatever. But you can take them off.
Oh my god, I hated them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some situations where I can see why you really need them, but this is just, it looks like a good solid truck. It's they say it's all factory, although the one shot of the dash, I'm pretty sure that radio was not factory original. But anyway, I'm not surprised.
The 1976.
Yeah, I mean, shocker. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like an aftermarket Pioneer or something like that from the 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, the pictures, huh?
Whatever. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that's from Pinterest. So anyway, man, it's just a good solid truck. It runs, it's in fantastic condition from the looks of it. Simple, it's not going to yell at you for not putting on your seatbelt or getting too close to the lane lines or whatever, and you can do stuff with it.
Yeah.
Go camping, go hunting. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Seatbelt's probably, oh my gosh. I bet the center seatbelt is like the lap belt.
Remember yeah. And there's crank windows. Oh, I remember one of my nephews asked me about crank windows once. He thought that my car, because I had an old car, had crank windows. I'm like, no, it's a nice car and it has electric. And he's like, darn it.
Oh my gosh. I was trying to tell my daughter to roll the window up. I was on the phone. I was doing this number.
She doesn't know what it means. Yeah.
She's just looking at me. She's the smartest person I know. Looking at me like I'm an idiot because I'm doing this at her. And I had to explain it to her. Same thing with the like the touchscreen infotainment. I had to explain to her how weird it is that if you would have told me rolling around with a CD player, that, by the way, a CD player that didn't come with my car, I had to take my little tape, stick it in there, and then it would skip.
And you had to get the car specific CD player because otherwise it'd still skip when you hit a bump or anything.
You have to get the one with the shock absorber on it.
Yep.
And if you breathed on it the wrong way, it would skip. But now here I am with my skipping infotainment system, and I can't figure out.
It does. It skips.
In every vehicle that I've ever been in with infotainment, if you drive it long enough, there will be a song that will skip, and you're just like, what?
What?
It's
not a
just
disc. How does that work?
I don't know. I mean, just sit and look at like a modern dash, and how different it is. Like from this, it's so weird. It's
which
a little spaceship.
By the way, on that subject, kids nowadays, they don't know what a collect call is.
Ah, is that a thing still? Like, can you
well, no. I don't think that anyone does collect calls anymore. That's why they don't know what they are.
From jail.
Maybe.
I mean, I've seen calling cards somewhat recently. So if there's calling cards,
really, calling cards are still a thing. Wow.
I mean, somewhere in Alabama on the way to Florida, I think I saw like a rack of them.
I saw a payphone a few weeks ago, and I was shocked.
Absolutely, there's a payphone in Bowling Green at a restaurant. We went to the Corvette plant.
Wow. And
I had to explain to my very intelligent children what this was, because I've also done this number before with the kids. I'm like, they're like, what is
what does that mean? Yeah. Because they're used to just this flat thing.
This doesn't get the message across, I don't think.
Yeah, they'll never know how cool we all felt when we finally had a cordless phone at home, and you could walk outside or walk around the house.
The forever cords. So my parents would never get a forever cord phone, so I had to sit by the phone when I was on the phone. The most I could do is like slide down the wall and sit under the phone and hold it like that, but still no privacy.
I'm talking about the early cordless phones when those first came out, and have the antennas like 3 feet long.
Yeah,
maybe not 3 feet, but it was pretty long.
So you could probably make a pretty accurate guess of our ages based off of this podcast.
Probably. Wow, we're dating ourselves. We're gonna stop now.
Okay, so this car is older than me. I will say
that. Yeah.
Chevy Malibu SS. Oh, that's a good looking car. I'm not really a convertible person.
Yeah, neither am I. It is a good looking car.
Yeah. This is like, I hate to say it because I know you're gonna cringe, but like I can see like Marilyn Monroe like in the car.
You're right.
Hate me for it, but it's just glamorous.
It's glamorous.
I think she was dead before this car was made, so there's that.
I think you're right.
I have no idea, but yeah. So
did she die like 63 or something like that? I don't remember.
No idea. When was JFK's first term? That's all I remember. Sort of, maybe. I don't know. What is this? It's got some sort of like jug.
What is that?
It is being held in by like a bracket. I thought somebody just sat it there.
Somebody just left their whiskey bottle under the hood. Yeah, that is a good.
Where's my moonshine?
If you know what that is, I'm curious now. Like,
Definitely looks like it's feeding something.
Oh well, yeah.
A bracket. Right.
But I don't see any tube out of it.
Emergency Mountain Dew supply or
emergency. It's the nitrous.
Yeah. Very low rent nitrous bottle.
Looks like it's green liquid. Is it antifreeze? Like what?
Okay.
So the coolant overflow? Like what? The weirdness.
Wow. Well, we don't know because it doesn't say it in the ad either.
Oh, I guess there is like a cable. It might be a tube going from it.
Well,
that is so weird. No, but no, it's not actually connected to it. Sorry, I'm looking at another picture. I'm like,
I'm trying to find some more pictures.
I think it might just be a bottle of coolant. What?
Emergency bottle of coolant.
Okay, wow.
I don't know what that says about the car. But
it's a cool car. So
the engine bay too. Like it seems maybe not the best place to mount it. Maybe in the trunk. Have your emergency fluids.
Yeah. I've had cooling system issues before, and I've had to carry coolant in the trunk.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody. Maybe they just put it there because they're real quick going to take the photo. I don't know. It's weird.
Definitely got a bracket though. That's the thing.
I don't know.
Suspended. You can tell
And
it.
it looks like it might be a glass bottle too, which I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not a great plan, but
All
okay.
right, maybe this is like some factory feature because the writing on it does look like the print on it does look pretty like.
Oh yeah, and it has a GM on it.
All right, we're gonna look into this, guys.
That yeah, I have never seen that under the hood of any vehicle ever.
Yeah, this is weird. What is it? All right, tell us in the comments what it is. We're gonna research it, but we're not gonna make you sit here and listen to us buy it and click. So on that note, I feel like we unpacked a lot. Thanks for coming back. We will be back in 2 weeks and before Christmas. We'll say that.
Yeah.
So take care.